Hello again. In this video, we're going to show you how to apply an AR payment. The example we're going to use is simply a case where we have a customer with one or more invoices open, and they send in a check and they want to specify, or they specify which open invoices they want to apply. And so to do that, we would go into Receivable, click on Receivable menu option, and we would go into Apply Payments and Credits. Okay. And next thing is we want to enter the company name. In this case, we're going to use Control Manufacturing. And as you can type in, you can select it from the list. And once you select the customer from the drop-down list, you see here that you have a list of open invoices or unpaid invoices. In some cases, the system may bring up open credit memos or credit memos that have not been applied against any other open invoices. So the next step is we're going to put in the payment date, okay, and it defaults to today's date. And the reason for that is we highly recommend that you put in the current date rather than the date that was printed on the customer's check. For the reason being that it could take days or sometimes weeks or months for the check to get to you, and the day that you apply the payment may not be the same as what's on the check. Another reason is that you want to enter the current date or the day that you apply the payment, and we assume that you also make a deposit to your checking account shortly after, and that will help the process of monthly reconciliation much easier, because the system is using the payment date and group them all together to post them into the general ledger or the checkbook account. So again, payment date, we highly recommend that you leave it as the default current date. Okay. The next step is you want to put in payment amount, which is the amount on the check. So in this example, we're going to use $15,000. Okay. And as you can see here, the payment type is already defaulted to check. You certainly can use the drop down to select other type, but in this example, the majority of the payment will be in the form of check. And in other videos, we're going to talk about how to use other methods like write-offs, bank transfer, credit card, debit card payment, and cash. Okay. And for now, in this example, we're going to focus on just the check payment type. Reference number is the check number itself. So we're going to use, let's say, 10234. Okay. Batch number is just the reference number to this, not a reference number, but it's designed to allow you to keep track of who's doing the posting or the distribution of this payment, and how often you make deposits. In case where you have multiple deposits throughout the day, then you want to put in the batch number here. So we recommend that you put in the initial of the person and the date or time that you do it. So it's really up to you to come up with a convention to track this particular batch. Okay. So let's say 2010 09 18. Okay. Notes. If you have additional notes regarding this payment, you can put it in here. Next, we're going to select. We're going to talk about the accounts receivable account and the checking account. 99% of the time, you're going to leave these two accounts blank, because the system is designed to post the payment received. It will credit the accounts receivable account, the default receivable account, and also debit or deposit the payment into the default checking account. In cases where you have payments that are that's going to be deposited into another account other than your default check account, then you have the option to select that from the list. So in this case, you can select, let's say, another checking account or a employee payback loan, for example. Okay. And we'll talk about more in other videos for those scenarios. But in this case, the customer sent in $15,000, and they specify that they're going to pay against, let's say, invoice number 1101 here with a discount, because let's say because they pay a little bit early and they they want to take their, because of the terms, they want to take, let's say, 2% discount. So in this case, on their check stub, typically they would specify how much the discount that they're taking and what's the balance they want to apply toward. So for this example, we're going to put in, let's say, 2% discount of that is, let's say, $37.99. So you can put in under the discount column $37.99, and the remaining balance would be the remaining balance is in fact 1861.83. Okay, and you can see here, as you put in the amount and the discount amount and amount applied for each invoice, the system then shows you what's the remaining that you can still apply. So we can go ahead and apply for this one, for example. I can double click on it and it will apply the full amount toward that invoice. And that's probably the simplest and quickest way to apply a payment, is to just double click on that line, and the system assumes that you apply the full amount toward that balance. So in this case, the balance is $49.28 and 2 cents. So by double click on it, the system applies the full amount. Now, so you do that, and there's a remaining balance of a remaining amount to be applied, which is $8,210, and we can apply that toward another invoice. Let's say this one here, and by double click on it, it applies only up to that amount, leaving this invoice with a partial payment balance. So that's how you apply essentially a full balance, partial balance, as well as with a discount apply. Okay, and that takes it to the full amount applied and leaving you the remaining amount to apply of 0. So and that's all you have to do. In this case, if you have other notes, you can enter the notes here, and once you're done with this, just click on Save, and the system will prompt you to select whether you want to apply another payment. So in cases where you have multiple payments coming in, then you would select yes and repeat this whole process of selecting, let's say, another customer, and you repeat the cycle. In other videos, we're going to show you how to create credit memos or write-offs, but for now, this concludes the video on how to apply a payment with a check along with discounts and partial payment.